So I heard a quote the other day. The softer your heart is, the less that the past is forming your present and your future. The more you can soften in the heart, the less that your past conditioning, past traumas, past experiences is forming the present and the future. Sorry. And this resonated with me. And it resonated just because I heard it and it resonated. But I'm going to attempt to put some words to it. Our heart holds on to the past. All the difficult, challenging experiences that we had when we were younger. And not even just experiences that we've had in this life, it could be experiences from our parents' lives that they've passed on to us, fears that they had, fears that their parents had, fears that their parents had and their parents had and their parents had. Heartbreaks that our parents went through. The heart holds on to the past. It tenses up, it tightens up as a way to protect itself. When it goes through a difficult experience, an experience that isn't in alignment with the goodness and openness of being, it closes down to protect itself. And throughout our lives, our hearts close down many times to protect itself, until it gets to a point where it's always closed to varying degrees. It's always tight, holding to varying degrees. It's in a near continuous state of protecting itself, a near continuous state of living in this egoic way of being based on fear and desire. Now when you soften in your heart, which you can do that right now, you just allow your heart to just soften just a little bit. You allow some softness in the heart. You allow that holding to soften a little bit. And when you do that, you might notice this smile arising inside. Maybe not. But you just gently allow your heart to soften. Now when your heart is holding and tight, then the past is forming your experience of the present. And your past is forming your experience to come in the future, because the present creates the future. when we just begin to soften in the heart, to let go of some of that holding, we let go of our attachment to the past. We let go of some of our attachment to the past. And the softer we are in our heart, the less past is forming and influencing your experience of the present moment. And the softer you are in your heart, the less that past, those past experiences which hardened your heart, are forming your future, are creating and manifesting your future. But this isn't complicated. It's a very simple pointing. The pointing is to soften in the heart. Enjoy the subtle sense of ease and relief when you just allow that heart to soften a little bit. When you start to allow the heart to soften a little bit, you also start to notice how much it's holding. The reason it's holding is because of past experience, stuff that happened to you in your past, stuff that the body remembers. The heart holds on to it. And we may have layers and layers of pain over the heart. And when we soften around it, this pain may come up at times. We may cry at times. We may laugh at times. We don't need to defend ourselves anymore. So long as you're physically safe in this moment, you don't need your heart to be holding on anymore. It's okay for that heart to soften. The reason the heart is closed is because it fears that someone's going to do something to harm it. It fears that experience of being open, because when the heart is open, it can then be closed down. And the experience of the heart closing down is very painful. So we're afraid to open our hearts, because when our hearts are open, we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable of the heart being closed down. But when you really get to know your heart, when you really come into it and allow it to soften and feel into it and get to know it, the heart feels safe to open. Because the heart realizes that you're here for it, that you're here with it, that you're present with it. Because presence is unaffected by any movement of the heart. Presence isn't affected by a broken heart. Presence is okay with a broken heart. Presence is okay with an open heart. The softer we are in our hearts, the less the past is forming our present and our future. A good illustration of this softening in the heart is when you go to bed at night. Likelihood is there's thinking in the mind about the day. There's a sense of being this person moving through time, and that person moving through time lands on the pillow, and then all the sleep hormones start going off in the brain, and the brain starts to tire, and you drop out of your mind and into your heart. And then a moment comes where the heart softens, and you completely let go of the day. You completely let go of the sense of self. You completely let go of any past and any future, and you're just in your heart. And then it feels wonderful, doesn't it, that moment just before you fall asleep. It's like, yes. And then you drop into sleep. Well, coming into the heart, softening in the heart is a little bit like that moment before you fall asleep. You soften in your heart and the mind becomes a bit quieter. And there's this sense that everything is okay. And even if there's pain in your heart, that's okay. You can just breathe into it and allow it to soften a little more. And if it doesn't want to soften, then that's okay. We don't force anything. You allow it to be how it is. You give it space to soften if it wants to soften. You give it space to hold on if it wants to hold on. You can never force your body to let go. You can never force your body to let go. If you try and force your body to let go, then what you're saying to whatever tension or pain is there, you're saying, you're not welcome here. You're saying, I want to get rid of you. And when you say that to any tension or any pain within your body, it will hold on tighter. And if it's holding on tightly, then you just need to let it know it's okay for you to be holding on tightly. It's okay. You can hold on for as long as you want. Okay, guys. Thank you.